welcome to my channel. My name is Sandra and today I want to talk to us about sugar. So we know that sugar is not good. Everyone knows that sugar is not good. But why is it not good? What does it do in our body? What harm does it cause to our body? And that's what I want us to discuss today. So, what is sugar? When we say sugar, we are pretty much talking about small pieces of carbohydrate. When we look up the definition, sugar is a sucrose, which is made out of two molecules, a glucose molecule and a fructose molecule. So when we talk about sugar, sugar is a disaccharide, and it is made out of a glucose molecule and a fructose molecule. Now let's talk about glycemic index. So glycemic index is how fast the food that you eat is able to raise your blood sugar. And so when we look at the glucose has a glycemic index of 100, which is really high. And fructose has a glycemic index of 23. So with that combined, we have sucrose. And an example of sucrose is regular table sugar. So let's talk about just glucose in a long chain. That's when we have polysaccharide, and it's also called maltose. So maltose is just glucose molecule bind together in a long chain. An example of these are like starches, the bread, the pastas, the potatoes, the rice. All these are example of maltose. With all this, when we are talking about blood sugar, it is the glucose portion that we are talking about. So now let's talk about why sugar is not good for us. So when it comes to the glucose portion of the sugar, it raises your blood sugar really high. And I will show you a demonstration. So when we look at the food groups that we eat, we have carbohydrate, protein, and fat. Out of them, carbohydrate raises your blood sugar really high, and then protein have a moderate impact on your blood sugar, and then fat has a small amount of impact on your blood sugar. And this is because of the insulin that your body has to produce to get rid of the glucose from your bloodstream into your cell. So when it comes to our blood glucose, our body really likes a stable rise in our blood glucose when we eat, and then when we're done eating, it goes back low. So it doesn't really get above the range. It doesn't really get so high. The body likes to keep it tight. So every time you eat and you are eating less carbohydrate, you have a moderate amount of rise in your blood level. But this is when you are eating carbs. So when you eat a lot of carbs, it breaks down into glucose. Or when you eat sugar, it breaks down into glucose. It raises your blood level really high, and then insulin is produced by your cell, and then the insulin will bring your blood sugar down. And then when you eat again, your blood sugar raises really high again, and then insulin again brings this back down. So when we are eating a lot of sugar or a lot of carbohydrates, we get these swings in our blood glucose, and the body does not like that so much. Also, when we look at maltose, maltose has a glycemic index of 105. So this is why we might want to lower the amount of carbohydrate that we eat, because the glycemic index is really high, higher than glucose. So let's get back to the reason why sugar is not good for us. So another reason why you might want to limit sugar or stop sugar altogether is that it causes weight gain. And how does it cause the weight gain? So when you have after you eat sugar, and majority of the time we are eating our sugars with carbohydrate. I can think of a food that we eat is rice water with sugar and milk. So we have the sugar, and then we have the rice, which all of it turns into sugar in our body. So the reason why sugar causes weight gains and belly fat is that when you eat sugar, you have a high amount of glucose in your bloodstream, and the pancreas produce insulin, and insulin is what helps the cell to receive this glucose. Insulin pulls the glucose from the bloodstream and it enters into the cell, but the cell only uses a small amount of this glucose, and then the rest of it converts it into fat. It turns it into fat because that's what it can do. So over time, this causes belly fat, and then there's fat form around your organs too, and so you will gain weight, and then you will have the belly fat. Another reason is that sugar causes insulin resistance, and this is so dangerous because insulin resistance is responsible for about 90 to 95% of all the metabolic diseases that we are seeing today. So hypertension, diabetes, stroke, and even dementia. These are all some of the causes of the insulin resistance. So how does it cause insulin resistance? So once you have glucose in your bloodstream, the pancreas produce insulin, and insulin is what allows the glucose to be pulled from your blood and enter into the cell. But your cell get full with the glucose that it needs, but the insulin is still being produced by the pancreas because there's a high amount of glucose in your bloodstream. So your cell gets full up, so it doesn't respond to the insulin being produced anymore because it is full with the glucose and it doesn't need it anymore. So that's how you become insulin resistant, or your cells will become insulin resistant. So if you have hypertension and diabetes or pre-diabetes, these are diseases that just did not start overnight. It's the years of us eating a high carb and so much sugar. Other problems that you can get from eating sugar. So sugar can also cause cavities. A lot of times that's why we don't want our kids to eat so much sugar, because it causes them to have cavities. The bad bacteria in your mouth feeds on sugar, so then eventually you get a lot of cavities in your mouth. Another problem with sugar is that it causes mineral deficiency. So let's say you may eat some vegetables, and then the minerals that you're getting from these vegetables, if you're eating a high amount of sugar, the sugar kind of limits the absorption of the minerals that you are eating. So it does not help. It causes you to be deficient in the minerals that your body needs. Another problem with consuming too much sugar is that it destroys your gut health. Sugar feeds the pathogenic bacteria in your body, the yeast, the fungus, the parasites, that you don't want there to be an increased number of that in your gut. The pathogenic bacteria feed on the sugar that we eat, and so it causes an imbalance. So then your bad bacteria then have an advantage over your good bacteria, which will not be good for you, because then it causes you to have food allergies, and then it also leads to leaky guts, which the molecules that are not supposed to enter the inner lining of your guts has the opportunity to enter in it once you develop leaky gut, and you get really sick from it. It can also lead to autoimmunity. So sugar causes a lot of damage. It also affects your hormones. It messes with your endocrine system. It causes an imbalance in your hormones because once insulin is high, it kind of takes over all the other hormones in your body. It causes a lot of mood swings because all the swings in your blood sugar, it affects your mood. So especially in kids too, it affects their moods. It causes adrenal fatigue because it's stressful to your body when your blood sugar rises high and then fall. It just causes a lot of stress in your body. And so what happens when you are stressed is that cortisol is produced. And when cortisol produces, not good, because then it turns everything into sugar. Even the protein, it converts that into sugar in your body, and it really messes with your adrenals. Another problem with sugar is it also causes PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. This is common in women, and it causes infertility or painful periods. All this is due to insulin resistance. Sugar also causes masculinization in women, in which women starts to develop traits of men, like hair on your upper lip and male pattern baldness. And then in males, it contributes to males having female traits. So you will see men with, the big boob. I guess it's called man boobs or something. But these are also some of the problems that sugar causes in our bodies. So sugar also does not help the brain. It causes blockage in some of the neurons that your brain needs to function. So what happens when you stop eating sugar? So when you stop eating sugar, you have a decreased blood glucose level. You can get rid of your insulin resistance. You get mental clarity. When you eat sugar, it actually causes you to want more sugar. So it causes a craving. So when you stop using sugar, you don't get these cravings of wanting to eat more sugar. When you stop eating sugar, your energy improves, and then your mind is focused. So what can we use instead of sugar? There are options now to be able to get sugar alcohols, which are alternative sweeteners. Now, when I'm talking about sweeteners, I'm not talking about the Splendors or Equal or any. Those are bad sweeteners. Here is one sweetener that I use. It is a plant-based sugar alternative. It is erythritol and monk fruit. I get this from Costco, and when you buy this, just make sure the ingredients is just erythritol and monk fruit. This is a better alternative to use instead of sugar. Another one that you can use is allulose. There's also another one, stevia. If you can find the stevia that just have stevia ingredients, always check the back of the package. Check the ingredient list. With these being a better option for you, this does not mean we should keep eating the sugar. When you're using these, it doesn't mean you should use it the same way as sugar, because the goal is for you to limit like sugar in your diet. And when you are using a lot of this, you're still kind of triggering the dopamine in your brain. You're kind of tricking your brain. Your brain is thinking that there's sugar coming in, or there's a lot of glucose. So you kind of trick your brain, and you don't want to do that. You want to use this minimally. You don't want to use a lot of this. Your whole point is that you want to get your taste buds away from sweets, too much sweets. You can have sweets once in a while, some berries or something will be good, but like we as a society, we eat so much sweets, so much sugar in different forms, and we eat a lot of carbs, and those don't help. And so just because these are better alternatives, it doesn't mean we should eat so much of it, because you want to limit sweetness, you want to limit sugar in your diet as much as possible. I know this was a longer video, but I hope this was able to help. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. With all this information, there's been research done, and I'll leave some research below for you to read for yourself. I hope this was useful information. So the reason why I do these videos is because a lot of times we get misinformation. We get so much information about the things that we're eating, and we are being told exercise and then you be healthy. We are being told just add some vegetables to your meals and you'll be healthy, but that is not the point. as a society, we consume so much sugar, so much carbs, and that is the problem. Is the glucose, is the carbs, is the sugar that is causing all these problems. And I know with the African community, majority, almost all our dishes is full of carbs. And I'll link below an article that they talk about the glycemic index of our African food, and they also mention how diabetes is on the rise in Ghana, which I know it's probably been on the rise for a lot of years. I'm not here to tell us to eat this or eat that, but I just want us to know how things work in our body, how the science behind all of this. God created us, our bodies, to be smart, but we need to understand the science behind what the body needs and the things that we are consuming, what it does to the body. And once we understand that science behind how the body works, we'll be able to make smarter choices with the food that we eat. So that's why I like to do these videos, because a lot of times solutions that are being given on the problems that we are having are misinformation. And now there's been so many new studies that have shown the problems. And if we can learn this information and unlearn all the information that they used to tell us, then we can become healthier as a community. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please share this video and let's get healthy together. Share is very important to share. So many people are becoming sick. So many people have high blood pressure even at a young age. People are getting diabetes, and they're dying from this. So let us share this information and help save lives, because God has assignments for all of us, and we have to be healthy to be able to complete the assignment that is ahead of us. Thank you for watching again, and please share this video, like this video, comment below. Until the next time, bye.